coming, and this is the biggest story that Times Now is getting to you at this hour. Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain have both resigned, a massive setback for the Aadmi party. Both the ministers currently facing investigations in different cases, one in jail, the other one in CBI custody. Both of them have resigned. This is the latest breaking news update in the series of setback coming in for the Aadmi party. A massive setback, a big blow to the Aadmi party immediately after the supreme setback coming in from the top court, asking Manish Sisodia to take his plea to the Delhi High Court. This is the latest development coming in. Both Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain have resigned. This is the latest coming in. Let me quickly go across to Madhav joining us with more details. The biggest setback so far to the Aadmi party, the biggest demand which was being raised by the BJP for the longest time, Madhav.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, one had thought that just as the Aadmi party had done in the case of Satyendra Jain, that they would continue with Manish Sisodia as minister, but that is not the case. This is the information coming in that both have tendered their resignations and that Arvind Kejriwal has accepted the resignations of both ministers, Satyendra Jain as well as Manish Sisodia. Both of them, of course, facing very serious graft charges, and in that sense, a very big development at this point of time. Now, this is after a second successive day of not getting any kind of relief in the courts that this particular announcement has been made, because very clearly there would have been a sense that the nature of the charges, the nature of the allegations, and while Aadmi party would continue to perhaps back Manish Sisodia, him continuing as a minister would only have raised more serious questions. Now, they have done so for months in the case of Satyendra Jain. Satyendra Jain continues to languish behind bars in Tihar jail, and at this point of time, in the case of Manish Sisodia, with no early relief in sight, perhaps it has been considered prudent by the Aadmi party that even Manish Sisodia's case, he would step down from his post as minister, and in fact just continue to serve Aadmi party as a normal MLA as far as his party is concerned. Now, this is a very big development, because both ministers stepping down, and what does this really mean as far as the decision-making process of the Delhi government is concerned? Remember that two ministers being behind bars is something that would have made the governance process already very difficult. 18 departments that Manish Sisodia was handling, including crucial departments such as education.
Well, this is one demand that was coming in from the BJP the last so many months. Stay on with us, Madhav. We have BJP's Manjinder Singh Sirsa ji joining us on the phone line. Sirsa Saab, how do you look at this? Both Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia have tendered their resignations, and it's been accepted by Arvind Kejriwal.
No, it has to be. They have no choice. How can a minister be there in a jail? And secondly, it took almost 8 months for Arvind Kejriwal to understand that Satyendra Jain is in jail. And today he is accepting his resignation, he is tendering his resignation. So one can very well understand कि जो अरविंद केजरीवाल का कहना और कथनी में कितना अंतर है. He never practice what he says. और जब सिर पर पड़ गया, पता चल गया कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी कोई रिलीफ नहीं दी, तब तो मजबूरी है. What choice they have? सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक भी जाएं आज तो.
Okay.
तो अब ये तो कोई चॉइस ही नहीं इनके पास.
जी. कोई चॉइस नहीं है, बट सिरसा साहब, यही सबसे बड़ा सवाल है that what has prompted the Aadmi party to head in this particular direction after the longest time. We have Alka Lamba of the Congress also with us on the phone line. Ms. Lamba, how do you see this? Both Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain have tendered their resignations. Their resignations have been accepted by Arvind Kejriwal.
बिल्कुल ये होना था. दिल्ली के लोगों का बहुत बड़ा दबाव था कि देश का पूरा स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय पिछले दिल्ली का स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय 8-9 महीनों से समझौते पर रखा हुआ है. काम रुके हुए हैं, दवाइयां, अस्पताल, इलाज सब रुका हुआ था. मुझे यह है कि देर आए दुरुस्त है. और जहां तक मनीष सिसोदिया जी की बात है, लगभग 18 विभाग उन्हीं के पास हैं. अरविंद जी के पास तो कुछ था ही नहीं. वो तो सिर्फ भ्रमण कर रहे थे, पार्टी का प्रचार और प्रसार कर रहे थे. ये होना ही था और दिल्ली को ताक पर नहीं रखा जाता. स्वागत करते हैं हम इस इस्तीफे का, और बिल्कुल सही कदम की फैसला है.
Okay, you welcome this decision. Thank you, Ms. Lamba, for speaking to us. Let me quickly go across to Bhavtosh as well. Bhavtosh, this is very big, but the timing is of importance here, very crucial. What may have led the two leaders to quit the cabinet after so many months of staying put? Bhavtosh.
Well, the fact is that both of them were arrested in separate cases of corruption, and more importantly, no relief coming from the court, whether it's a lower court, the special court, or for that matter today from the Supreme Court. Remember, these cases are not being probed by the state police or by the ACB, but they are being probed by the federal probe agencies. And time again, both Satyendra Jain as well as Manish Sisodia had gone to the court, tried seeking relief, but no relief have been given. In case of Satyendra Jain, he had gone to the trial court, he had gone to the high court, but not even a parole has been given in case of Satyendra Jain. In fact, the questions have been raised about the kind of facilities that were being provided to him by Tihar jail, and it could be possible that Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and Aam Aadmi Party felt that their perception, their public perception was being affected by the fact that two senior most leaders have been
the political storm, all of those videos which were leaked out have actually gone on to make. Stay on with us. We also have a spokesperson of the BJP, Neeti Jain, along with the political analyst Sanjeev Kaushik with us on the broadcast. I want to first up ask Mr. Kaushik, where does this leave the Aam Aadmi Party? Look at the kind of portfolios being held both by Manish Sisodia and by Satyendra Jain. 18 portfolios is not a joke, sir.
लेकिन निश्चित तौर पे भारतीय जनता पार्टी इस तरह के रिजाइन को अपनी जीत के खाते में दर्ज कर रही हो और कांग्रेस पार्टी इसका स्वागत कर रही है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि दिल्ली की वो जनता जिसने कभी नहीं माना कि मनीष सिसोदिया एक गुनहगार के तौर पे हैं, ये लगातार इलेक्शन से पहले, एमसीडी के इलेक्शन से पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी के लोग आरोप लगाते रहे, और उस आरोपों के बावजूद यदि दिल्ली की जनता ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी को बाहर का रास्ता दिखाया हो और आम आदमी पार्टी को सत्ता में, एमसीडी की सत्ता में लाने का काम किया, तो जाहिर सी बात है कि उनके मन में क्या चल रहा है ये तो स्पष्ट हो।
जी कौशिक साहब, आप कट्टर ईमानदार की बात फिर से कर रहे हैं और यही आम आदमी पार्टी इतने लंबे समय से बोलती आई है, तो अब कट्टर ईमानदार ने इस्तीफा क्यों दिया? ये सबसे बड़ा सवाल है। प्रियांक also joining us on the broadcast. Priyank, for the longest time Satyendra Jain was fighting the legal battle, found no reliefs from the court on repeated basis, and here you have both Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain resign, and Arvind Kejriwal has accepted the resignations.
Yes, certainly, Christine, and in fact, Satyendra Jain's conduct has been an embarrassment for the Aam Aadmi Party over the period of time. The kind of videos which we managed to get from the Tihar jail, the manner in which he was also spotted talking to the co-accused while he was there inside the Tihar jail. Still, he was the jail minister. But Arvind Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia and all of them from the Aam Aadmi Party kept on hushing up this matter and said that this is a conspiracy for which Satyendra Jain has been portrayed in such a manner. But Manish Sisodia is the one person who was always seen on the stage with Arvind Kejriwal during the anti-corruption movement. The Anna Hazard movement was something which brought this party into limelight. Later to that, they formed a party and then they came into power, claiming themselves to be the anti-corruption crusaders. And once the topmost anti-corruption crusader, Manish Sisodia, the former journalist who became a leader, then he became minister, then he became the deputy chief minister of the state, and he had a portfolio of around 18 departments of the Delhi government, which include excise, education, all the major departments were under Manish Sisodia. It was also said that Manish Sisodia was making the budget of the Delhi government because he was also the finance minister of the Delhi. In the meanwhile, the CBI calls him at this headquarters, and within 8 hours of the questioning, he was arrested by the Central Bureau of Investigation. So more than what the party could assess, that could be a shameful thing because of the arrest of Satyendra Jain, which was already been there in the public domain since 8 months. The kind of conduct which brought so much of shame to the party over the period of time. Manish Sisodia's arrest was a major setback, and we have to see that this particular resignation has come up when the apex court has not agreed to the bail application of Manish Sisodia, which was moved by the council, knowing for the fact that
no
there were certain other layers.
Court yesterday, the CBI was granted 5-day custody of Manish Sisodia. No relief came in from the Supreme Court, which asked Manish Sisodia to instead knock on the doors of the Delhi High Court. Neeti Jain, how do you see this? The BJP has been demanding for the longest time that both the ministers step down.
You know, it is not just the BJP. I think it was supposed to be a conscious decision by the party that has 2 of its ministers under arrest. But let me say this is not a conscience calling that they wanted to get away from the tainted ministers, because if that were the case, they would have taken or accepted the resignation from Satyendra Jain in the past 8 months. I think this is Arvind Kejriwal trying to isolate himself from all the corruption charges that are being leveled against the party today. And this is a desperate attempt for Arvind Kejriwal to isolate himself. And there is no other way to look at it.
So you're saying this is the Aam Aadmi Party buckling under pressure, is it?
Yes, there is no other way to look at it right now, because if this was a conscience calling, they would have accepted the resignation of Satyendra Jain in the past 8 months. The kind of videos that had come, and the conscience did not awaken at that time. So definitely not a conscious, this is not a conscience calling. This is a desperate attempt of Aam Aadmi Party to isolate themselves. The kind of charges that are going on, they have been glorifying corruption in the past 8 to 10 months with all the protests that were happening just because a corrupt minister was taken in for questioning. So
Mr. Kaushik, would you want to respond to that? What may have led to this change in heart? I'll go across to Nyamika, my colleague, as well in just a bit. But Mr. Kaushik, because for the longest time, the BJP kept saying, why is it that 2 ministers facing these kind of serious corruption allegations under the investigation of both CBI and Enforcement Directorate continue as ministers? What led to this change in heart today, sir, in your view?
दो बातें हैं। एक तो पहली बात कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ये तय कर ले कि वो चाहती क्या है। यदि रिजाइन दिया, नहीं दिया तो भी शिकायत है, और रिजाइन दिया तो भी शिकायत है, तो वो तय करें। लेकिन मूल बात यह है कि दिल्ली की जनता क्या चाहती है और भारतीय जनता पार्टी के काम करने के तरीके क्या है। क्या भारतीय जनता पार्टी इसी तरह से दिल्ली की जनता के लिए हित में जो काम कर रहे हैं उनको करप्शन के चार्ज में फंसाएगी और रिजाइन दिलवा के वो खुश हो रही है? तो ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी का अपना राजनीति का हिस्सा हो सकता है। मैं फिर दोबारा दोहरा दूं कि ये करप्शन का
चार्ज इसलिए उठाया जा रहा है क्योंकि जिस दिन सीबीआई की सवाल पूछताछ के लिए मनीष सिसोदिया सीबीआई के दफ्तर पहुंचे थे, उस दिन भी अरविंद केजरीवाल ये बोल रहे थे कि मनीष सिसोदिया कट्टर ईमानदार है, शिक्षा के लिए उन्होंने नेशनल कैपिटल में बहुत कुछ किया है। वी हैव द बीजेपी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस दैट्स करंटली अंडरवे। लेट्स कट अक्रॉस लाइव।
जिस दिन उनके ऊपर ये गंभीर आरोप लगा, उनको उसी दिन इस्तीफा देना चाहिए था और कहते कि जब तक मैं पाक साफ होकर नहीं निकलूंगा तब तक मैं काम नहीं करूंगा। लेकिन आज भी बहस में क्या करते कि हम 18 विभाग से बात करें, तो अगर हम जेल चले जाएंगे तो 18 विभाग कौन संभालेगा? तो भ्रष्टाचार का जवाब नहीं, 18 विभाग चलाने की चाहत अधिक।
We'll just reconnect to that press conference. That is the BJP immediately taking to the media to put out all of those sensational charges, directing them towards the Aam Aadmi Party once again. And we put out those visuals of Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia, 2 former ministers in the Arvind Kejriwal cabinet who have now quit. Their resignation have been accepted by the Aam Aadmi Party Supremo Arvind Kejriwal. This is very, very big in itself, given the kind of constant setbacks, Madhav, that have been coming in for the Aam Aadmi Party. But most importantly, as I was pointing out, until very, very recently, the Aam Aadmi Party maintained that they will continue as ministers in the cabinet. Let's cut across back to the BJP press conference underway.
9 महीने बाद सत्येंद्र जैन का इस्तीफा हुआ। ये है अरविंद केजरीवाल की पॉलिटिक्स। धन्यवाद।
अरविंद केजरीवाल ने क्या अपना दामन बचाने के लिए मजबूरी में ये दोनों का इस्तीफा लिया, क्योंकि आप लोग लंबे समय से इस्तीफे की मांग कर रहे हैं?
दामन में बहुत धब्बे हैं, प्रतीक्षा करिए, कई चीज अपने आप निकलती है ना, बस। हाँ, लेकिन जब धब्बे बड़े होते हैं तो वो फिर बच नहीं पाते हैं, इसलिए प्रतीक्षा करिए, ठीक है? We have just learned that Mr. Manish Sisodia has resigned, and so has Mr. Satyendra Jain, and to our great surprise, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has also accepted the resignation of Mr. Satyendra Jain after 9 months. Come on. If Mr. Manish Sisodia had any moral compass left, being the disciple of Anna Hazare movement, he ought to have resigned on the day this scandalous allegations came to light. He ought to have told, first I will get exonerated, then I will come back. But his plea in the Supreme Court was, I am looking after 18 departments, therefore please give me bail. The keenness was there to run the department, not to explain the scandalous case of corruption. Therefore, again, I would repeat, the whole conduct of Aam Aadmi Party is typified by 3C: cut, commission and corruption. Thank you.
You heard it from the BJP there, Madhav. BJP says, we told you so. These are very serious allegations of corruption that have been leveled against both Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia, and this was bound to happen. It was long due.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, the BJP has very consistently been raising the issues pertaining to the excise scam for the past 6 months, or the past 5 months rather, since this news first broke out. And clearly, time and again, they've raised questions of impropriety on part of the Arvind Kejriwal government and several top ministers. Now with the role of Manish Sisodia coming in, with information coming in, with in fact no relief coming in from the courts as far as Manish Sisodia is concerned, and of course the role of how the policies were tweaked, to increase the profit margin, as my colleague Bhavtosh has been reporting and giving us those details as to what exactly the CBI has been doing to piece together how the investigation was actually carried out. There was a seizure in January of a computer from Manish Sisodia's house, where they managed to retrieve a deleted file, or at least a fragment of it. From there, really, the investigation led them all the way to the 5-star hotel, where they further allegedly got some kind of evidence through forensic analysis of more details, of more documents that were allegedly accessed by the South Group, which very clearly showed that the profit margin was increased from 5% to 12%. All of this raising serious questions as to whether the exchequer was really the one that was losing out, and all of this was being done with an intent to, profiteer or at least benefit those particular companies which were engaged in the liquor trade at the level of not just wholesalers or manufacturers, but also the level of retail, and thereby creating this huge, increase in demand as far as Delhi market is concerned, raising some very serious questions as to whether the expert committee's, note, why that was completely ignored, why there was a GOM route that was taken, and the manner in which all of this was done to actually facilitate these particular companies. That's the allegation that is being brought. These are very, very serious charges that the CBI and its investigators have allegedly unearthed. Of course, whether it's proven in a court of law is an entirely different matter, but at least in the court of public opinion, somewhere there must have been a sense within the Aam Aadmi Party government that this perhaps is something that they cannot sustain for very long, and therefore have decided to take this immediate step.
What led to the law? What led to loss to the exchequer? What led to tweaking the policy that perhaps raised all of those questions is something that we're still trying to find out, and that's why the CBI in fact wanted Manish Sisodia's custody. But Priyank, how big a setback is this for the Aam Aadmi Party really?
Very much, Christine, because the Aam Aadmi Party had very well thought strategy whenever they were supposed to go for another election in another state, that they will talk about the education model in the national capital. Then the arrest of Manish Sisodia came as a major setback for them, because they could not have gone for another election in some other state, where the elections are expected to happen this year, saying that our education minister, about whose policy we are talking about, has been inside the prison because of a case of corruption. So it was very much needed for the Aam Aadmi Party to distance themselves from Manish Sisodia, who has now been arrested. They thought that there could be some kind of relief which can be expected from the apex court. We have to see that other accused, who are the co-accused, either in the ED case or in the CBI case, have been inside, in ED's case, have been inside the jail since more than 5 to 6 months. So it is very much a known fact that the Aam Aadmi Party did a very well thought calculation that Manish Sisodia could be, that is a possibility which they have not denied, could be there inside the prison for another few months. If that is a scenario, then how can they go to another state claiming that our education model is so robust, so good, that our own education minister is inside the prison? But we have to think from the Delhiite point of view also. Manish Sisodia, a person who was holding a portfolio of around 18 various departments, could be behind the jail. So it was very much difficult for the Aam Aadmi Party to run their government. They need to have a very, they had to have some kind of arrangement where someone else could have been looking into these portfolios, because the Delhi people cannot sit idly waiting for the minister to come back from jail, and then they could have expected some kind of development. Finance, education, excise, as we already know, has been one of the prime focus of the Delhi government, which has come under this kind of scrutiny, which is certainly a revenue generating thing for the national capital. So all these things, factors could have been considered. That's why Aam Aadmi Party government came, and then they have accepted the resignation of Manish Sisodia. So I would say it's a major setback for them. I would also say that this is a strategy for them to go to post in other state, because with their own education minister being behind jail, they could not have gone to other state and claim that dekhiye ji hamari Delhi ki shiksha vyavastha.
And that's what the BJP is asking, Priyank. Very interesting when Ravi Shankar Prasad says, why is it that this decision was not taken on the very first day these allegations were made or these allegations came to light? But look at the kind of impact this is going to now have as far as the functioning of the Delhi government is concerned. With both these ministers who've now resigned, this is what the picture looks like, viewers, with regards to the portfolios that were held by each of them. Look at the long list of the several departments that were being chaired by Manish Sisodia in this case. This is, of course, the initial allocation: finance, education, tourism, PWD, labor, planning, land and building, vigilance, service, art, culture, language. All of these are the portfolios which were being held by Manish Sisodia. This, of course, since the beginning, when the Aam Aadmi Party government first came to power in the national capital, shifting focus to the 11 portfolios that were held by Satyendra Jain, who continued to, as the health minister, despite all of those money laundering charges against him and despite no relief from the courts. The Home Department, Health, Power, Water, Industries, Urban Development, PWD, Irrigation, Flood Control, Labor, Employment, some very key portfolios which were held by both of these ministers who no longer enjoy that position in the Delhi cabinet. Remember, half a dozen of these portfolios, of course, thereafter, after he was sent to jail, after he was jailed and continued to remain in Tihar jail, were handed over to Manish Sisodia. So all in all, 18 portfolios currently being held by Manish Sisodia. Where do they go? What happens next to the Aam Aadmi Party? We'll tell you more about that. But before that, a quick update coming in. Reactions that continue to pour in from the BJP. The BJP speaks of how the Aam Aadmi Party has no moral locus standi. Lots of reactions coming in from the BJP. This is a tweet by Shehzad Poonawala, I believe. Pratibha is joining us with more details. Pratibha.
Yes, Christine. You know, the BJP all this while has been demanding for the resignations of Satyendra Jain, questioning how is he a jail minister who continues to be jailed. They've been demanding his resignation now after Manish Sisodia, a similar demand that came in from the BJP. Now, after the resignations have been accepted by Arvind Kejriwal, this is what Shehzad Poonawala of the BJP is saying, claiming this is, the Aam Aadmi Party having no choice but to accept these resignations, saying Satyendra Jain and Manish Sisodia resignations taken only when no resort was left. Today, the Aam Aadmi Party has no moral locus standi left. It was a decision of majburi, a decision that is too little too late, a decision to cut losses when the Janch ki aach is coming to Chief Minister Kejriwal. So the BJP hinting that because the probe is getting closer to the Chief Minister, that's the reason why the Aam Aadmi Party had no option but to cut down, to accept the resignation of Manish Sisodia as well as Satyendra Jain.
All right, so those are the kind of responses coming in from the BJP, saying we told you so. These are serious corruption charges which cannot be just washed away in the blink of moment. That's the reaction coming in from the BJP. Non-stop reactions pouring in from the Aam Aadmi Party side as well. We'll put out some of those, but before that, here's another reaction. Let's listen in.
आखिर भारतीय जनता पार्टी का संघर्ष रंग लाया। हम कई महीनों से लगातार ये मांग कर रहे थे कि सत्येंद्र जैन और मनीष सिसोदिया, तुम्हें जेल भी जाना होगा और तुम्हें इस्तीफा भी देना होगा। और आज शर्म के मारे अरविंद केजरीवाल को उन दोनों का इस्तीफा लेना पड़ा। ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं की जीत है, सच्चाई की जीत है। और मैं शराब घोटाले में लिप्त इस शराब घोटाले के सूत्रधार, 2 से 12% की दलाली के सूत्रधार अरविंद केजरीवाल को भी कहता हूं कि अब तुम्हें भी इस्तीफा देना होगा, क्योंकि ये लड़ाई अभी थमी नहीं है। शराब घोटाला आपकी सहमति से आपकी नाक के नीचे हुआ है, इसके जिम्मेदार आप हैं। आपके इस्तीफे की मांग को लेकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी का संघर्ष चलता रहे।
So the BJP essentially highlighting how the Aam Aadmi Party has not been left with any other option than to, in fact, make sure that both these ministers resign, and that's what's happened. Arvind Kejriwal has accepted the resignation of Manish Sisodia and Satyendra Jain. Where does this leave the Aam Aadmi Party, given that these were both the left and the right arm of Arvind Kejriwal? What happens to the functioning of the Aam Aadmi Party Sarkar in the national capital? We continue to get you more details on the other side of a very short break. We'll be right back. Thank you, Ms. Neeti Jain and Sanjeev Kaushik, for joining us this evening.